A human mechanic builds a prototype visor for a blind alien girl. Days later, 4 elite soldiers come for him. Jack Harmon never thought that a simple act of kindness would change his life forever. On a quiet border planet, where humans and aliens live side by side, Jack spent his days fixing broken machines in his small, dusty garage. He was just an ordinary man trying to survive in a strange world. But everything changed the moment he decided to help a small alien girl who had lost her sight. He used scraps of old technology and sleepless nights to build a device that could help her see again. It was never meant to attract attention. It was never meant to reach the ears of powerful people. But in this world, even kindness could become dangerous. And when 4 elite armored soldiers showed up at his workshop and ordered him to come with them, Jack realized that helping the wrong person might cost him his life. In this society, helping a noble without permission is a serious crime. Jack had unknowingly crossed a line that humans were never supposed to cross. The little girl he helped belonged to a powerful noble house, and by touching her fate with his invention, he had interfered in sacred traditions and strict political rules. The noble family believed he had overstepped. They had the right to punish him. Punishment could mean prison, could mean exile. It could even mean death. But the danger did not stop there. If Jack failed, the little girl would lose everything. She would return to darkness forever, or worse, she might be taken hostage by enemies who wanted his technology. And beyond her life, something even larger was at risk. Rival houses were already at war in the shadows. Treaties were fragile. One wrong move could spark a conflict that would spread across the planet. If Jack's invention fell into the wrong hands, it could destroy his future, the girl's safety, and the balance between entire alien factions. What began as a simple act of kindness had now become a threat to peace itself. Jack Harmon wiped sweat from his face as he worked inside his small metal garage. The heat on the border planet was always heavy, and the metal walls trapped it inside like an oven. His gray mechanic uniform was dark with oil stains, and his arms were sore from hours of work. Broken machines covered every surface of the workshop. Old hover engines, alien power coils, cracked energy cells, and strange tools filled the space. Jack had been a soldier once, but now he fixed things for a living. On this planet, humans were rare, but his skills were valuable. Aliens trusted his hands, even if they did not fully trust his kind. A soft sound came from the doorway. Jack looked up and saw the little alien girl again. She stood just outside the door, her purple skin glowing softly in the sunlight. Her long lavender hair fell over her shoulders, and her pointed ears twitched as she watched him work. Small and quiet, and she never spoke. She simply watched. Jack smiled when he saw her. "You're back again, huh?" he said gently. "You really like watching broken things get fixed." The girl nodded slowly and walked inside, careful not to touch anything. Jack pulled a small metal stool toward her. She climbed onto it just like she always did. Over the past few months, this had become their routine. The girl showed up almost every day and watched him work in silence. Jack never asked where she came from. On a planet filled with strange customs, he had learned not to ask too many questions. He picked up a small alien puzzle device and turned it on. Blue light folded and twisted in the air. The girl's eyes widened with wonder. Jack laughed softly. "Careful," he said. "This one bites if you press the wrong part." The girl pulled her hands back quickly, then relaxed when he placed the safe side toward her. As time passed, Jack found himself talking to her more and more. He explained his work in simple words, even though she never replied. "See this circuit?" He said one day, "Aliens built this for 6 fingers, not 5. That's why it breaks when humans touch it." The girl leaned forward as if she truly understood. Jack felt strange warmth in his chest. He had spent years alone after leaving the military, but her quiet presence made the days feel lighter. Then one day, the girl did not come. At first, Jack thought nothing of it. He finished his work and waited. The sun went down. The next day, she still did not appear. By the 3rd day, worry began to grow inside him. By the 5th day, it became fear. "Something's wrong," he muttered to himself. He cleaned up his shop early and walked toward the alien district for the first time. The noble alien district was nothing like the rough streets where Jack lived. Tall, glowing buildings curved toward the sky. The ground shimmered beneath his boots. Alien nobles moved gracefully through the streets, their eyes following him with quiet distrust. Jack asked around, but no one wanted to help a human. Some turned away. Others stared at him coldly. As the sun began to set, Jack overheard two alien women whispering. Their voices were low, filled with sadness. "It's the little girl from House Talon," one said. Her eyes were taken by the energy surge. Jack's heart stopped. "The healers say she will never see again," the other whispered. "For her kind, blindness is a living death." Jack stepped forward slowly. "The girl," he said carefully. "Does she have purple hair?" The two aliens froze. One of them nodded slowly. "You know her?" she asked. Jack swallowed hard. "She comes to my shop," he said. That night, Jack did not sleep. He returned to his workshop and began pulling parts from every shelf. Broken scanners, old drone eyes, heat sensors, sound mapping chips. His hands moved fast, driven by purpose. "If her eyes won't work," he whispered, "then I'll build her new ones." For 3 straight days, he barely rested. Sparks flew through the air as he welded, cut, and rebuilt. His fingers bled, his vision blurred. But he did not stop. When the visor was finally finished, it was small and light, simple on the outside, powerful on the inside. It would turn sound, heat, and energy into images the brain could understand. It was not perfect, but it was her only chance. On the 4th morning, the workshop door opened softly. Jack looked up. In shock, the little girl was standing there, but this time, she was not alone. The little girl stood quietly in the doorway, her hands held close to her chest. Her eyes were no longer clear and curious like before. Now they were cloudy and unfocused. Beside her stood a tall alien man dressed in formal dark robes. His posture was stiff, and his face showed no warmth. His hand rested firmly on the girl's shoulder. Jack felt his chest tighten. "You are the human mechanic," the alien man said. His voice was calm, but cold. "I am Vaughn, steward of House Talon. The child insisted on coming here." Jack knelt in front of the girl at once. "Hey, kiddo," he said softly. "You came back." The girl turned her face toward his voice and reached out slowly, unsure. Jack gently took her hand. "It's okay. I'm here. She has lost her sight," Vaughn said. "Our healers say it cannot be restored." Jack nodded and stood. "I know. That's why I built this." Moved to his workbench and lifted the slim visor with both hands. "It won't fix her eyes, but it might help her see in a different way." Vaughn's eyes narrowed. This device is untested human work. "So was every invention the first time?" Jack replied. After a long pause, Vaughn nodded once. "Proceed. I will observe." Jack knelt again and gently placed the visor over the girl's eyes. He adjusted the straps and connected a small power cell at the back. "It might feel strange at first," he said, "but I'll be right here." He turned the device on. For one long second, nothing happened. Then the girl gasped. Her fingers trembled as they tightened around Jack's sleeves. "I see shapes," she whispered. "Light and shadows." Jack's throat tightened. "That's good. That means it's working." She turned her head slowly. "That's your work table," she said, "and that's the stool." Tears filled Jack's eyes. "Yeah," he whispered. "That's right." She took one careful step, then another. She moved around a toolbox without touching it. "I can walk again," she said softly. "Thank you, Jack." Even Vaughn looked stunned.
This is
"Remarkable," he said quietly. 2 days later, Jack's workshop doors opened with a sharp hiss. 4 elite armored soldiers stepped inside in perfect formation. Their armor shimmered with shifting colors, and their weapons glowed with silent power. "Jack Harmon," their leader said. "You are summoned to House Talon. You will come with us now." Jack felt cold fear crawl up his spine. "Is the girl okay?" he asked. "The child is safe," the soldier replied. That is all you need to know." They escorted him through the streets like a prisoner. People stopped and stared. Aliens whispered. Humans stepped aside in fear. Soon, towering white structures rose before them. The noble estate of House Talon stood like a shining fortress of light and glass. Inside, the air was cool and filled with strange, sweet scents. Water floated upward in glowing streams along the walls. Jack stood alone in the massive hall until an elderly alien male entered. His skin was deep purple, his silver hair glowing faintly. "You gave sight back to my granddaughter," the elder said. "I am Lord Talon." Jack forced himself to speak calmly. "I only gave her a tool. I didn't mean to interfere," Lord Talon said. "You broke sacred law. You touched a noble child's fate without permission. The penalty for that is death." Jack's pulse thundered in his ears. "I'd still do it again," he said firmly. "She deserved a chance." A long silence followed. Then Lord Talon laughed quietly. "Very well. Let us see if your courage matches your fate." At that moment, the little girl ran into the hall with perfect confidence. "Grandfather," she cried, "you promised not to scare him." Behind her stood a tall, graceful alien woman with silver-flecked violet eyes and flowing purple hair. Her presence filled the room with silent power. "This is Lady Atara," Lord Talon said. "The girl's mother?" Atara stepped closer too. "Jack, the one who saved my child," she said softly. That night, Jack was invited to a grand celebration. He was dressed in noble clothing. Music filled the glowing hall. Hundreds of noble aliens watched him as Lord Talon placed a crystal pendant around his neck. "By ancient right," Lord Talon announced, "I name you friend of House Talon." Some guests applauded, others whispered in anger, and one noble lord watched with open hatred later, on a balcony glowing with living light. Atara stood beside Jack. "You changed my daughter's life," she said quietly. "You changed mine too." Jack swallowed. "I just helped a friend." Their eyes met. Slowly, carefully, they kissed. The night felt full of promise. Then everything broke. A steward rushed onto the balcony, his face pale. "My lady," he said urgently, "the child is missing and her visor is gone." Jack's blood ran cold. The music from the grand hall faded. Behind them, as Jack, Atara, and the steward rushed through long glowing corridors, Jack's heart pounded so hard it hurt. Every step felt heavier than the last. Where was she last seen? Atara asked, her voice shaking. In her chambers, the steward replied. Her attendant went to check on her, and both the child and the visor were gone. They entered a massive security room filled with floating holographic screens. Lord Talon stood at the center, his face dark with anger. "Someone has breached our estate," he said. A transport signature was detected near the East Garden moments before she vanished. Tara clenched her fists. "House Prayton, possibly," Lord Talon said. "We have no proof yet." Before anyone could speak again, a large holographic screen flickered to life. A noble alien male appeared on it. His eyes were cold and his smile was cruel. "Good evening, Lord Talon," he said. "I trust your celebration is going well." Atara stepped forward. "Turn my daughter at once." The noble laughed softly. "The child is unharmed. For now. But her very clever visor has caught my attention. Send me the human who built it, alone, and I may consider returning her." Jack stepped forward without hesitation. "I'll go." Tara grabbed his arm. "You can't. It's a trap." "I know," Jack said quietly, "but she's my friend, and I'm not letting her face this alone." Lord Talon studied Jack for a long moment, then he nodded. "You will go, but you will not go unprepared." Minutes later, Jack was back in his workshop. His hands moved fast as he built 3 small devices from spare parts: a pulse emitter, a smoke sphere, and a modified scanner. A Talon guard watched him closely. "You humans use very strange methods," the guard said. "We survive on strange methods," Jack replied. When Jack finished, he slid the devices into his pockets and turned toward the boundary forest where the exchange was set to happen. The ancient stone marker stood alone beneath the dark sky. Lord Prayton emerged from the shadows with 2 guards. Between them stood the little girl. Her visor was gone. Her eyes were lost in darkness again. "Jack." She cried when she heard his voice. "Let her go," Jack said firmly. "Give me the visor data first," Lord Prayton replied. Jack pulled a crystal from his pocket and tossed it forward. As the guard bent to pick it up, Jack pressed a hidden button. A powerful wave surged through the air. Every weapon, every shield, every armored system died instantly. "What have you done?" Lord Prayton shouted. "Just turned off the lights," Jack said. He threw the smoke sphere. Thick clouds filled the clearing. Through the haze, Jack activated his scanner and moved fast. He struck one guard, grabbed the child, pressed the visor back onto her face. "Hold on tight," he whispered. They ran. A transport descended from the sky ahead of them. The door opened. Tara stood inside. "Now, Jack." The guards of house. Talon poured into the clearing. Lord Prayton tried to attack Jack in rage, but Jack sidestepped and disarmed him with one clean motion. "This ends now," Jack said. Moments later, House Prayton's forces were captured. Leary clung to Jack as the transport rose into the sky. "You came for me," she whispered. "Always," Jack replied. 3 months later, Jack stood on the balcony of his new workshop inside the Talon estate. It was larger than anything he had ever known. But the greatest gift stood beside him. Atara wrapped her arms around him. "Leary's waiting for you," she said with a smile. She made improvements to the visor again. Jack laughed. "She's going to outgrow me soon." That night, with the stars glowing beyond the balcony and the little girl safe in her room, Jack finally understood how one small act of kindness had changed everything. A broken machine had led him to a lost child. A lost child had led him to a powerful house, and a single invention had led him to a life he never imagined. Sometimes, being human was the greatest strength of all.